Uh, on paper where the story's told, facts and truth, the legend grows. Lionheart's here with fire to spit. It's on paper with Anthony Smith.
With Anthony Smith. Welcome back to On Paper. I'm Kelly Murphy. More importantly, that is my co-host, my better half, UFC light heavyweight and the ultimate girl dad himself, Anthony Lionheart Smith. Anthony, I got the intro right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm home today, as you can see. The UFC is coming to film. They're filming for a couple days here in Omaha. So
Nice.
I'm home from Denver for that. So I'm training here in Omaha, which is fun. And yeah, I had a super busy weekend. My oldest daughter played in a national qualifying volleyball tournament. We didn't get the bid, but they played really well. We still got 2 shots at it. So, yeah, really proud of the team, proud of the girls. We had a good time in Minneapolis. I flew there from Denver and then had an absolute disaster trying to get home yesterday. It was awful. So if you guys were flying yesterday, I'm sure that your travel was disrupted as well because apparently it was nationwide. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's been torrential rain all day, just been working all day, and I did nothing this weekend, which was lovely.
That's weird. No White Claws.
No, not a White Claw. I'll be fair, I had a rough Thursday, so I took the weekend off.
So you're hungover all weekend.
And anxious.
You can't say that you didn't drink over the weekend.
It was less about the hangover and more
hungover.
about the anxiety that followed.
Yeah.
And I was anxious. I actually still am as of this recording on Monday. So yeah, I didn't take the weekend off willingly.
On Thursday?
Yeah, it wasn't my best showing, but
doing what?
No, it wasn't good. I went out for a coworker's birthday.
I guess I'm just old. I don't even know where I'd get drunk on a Thursday.
We went right by the office. It was not good. Not a good. March Madness started. We were watching the games. I went from Aperol Spritz to Budweiser to espresso martini to vodka soda.
Ooh.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh, speaking of March Madness, I did watch a little basketball. But
Did
also
ya?
watched the Division I National Wrestling Tournament. So I watched that all weekend.
Upset of the century.
That might be the biggest upset in college sports.
Maybe. I almost didn't watch because I was like, Gable Stevenson's a lock.
Yeah, I was texting with David Taylor. And honestly, I'm just gonna be shameful here, trying to get him on the podcast. Normally we just text back and forth, just quick little, good job, congratulations on dual wins. We chit-chatted, before and after his Olympic, when he lost before the Olympics. So, but yeah, I was being super shameful just trying to get him on here, and he's totally down. So we just got to work with his schedule a little bit, and we'll get David on here. Yeah, I know not a lot of people are like super into the college wrestling thing, but I really am. So hopefully we can get him on here soon. And he's a really good conversation. Like you'll learn something from David Taylor, even if you don't care about wrestling, just listening to him speak.
You guys have had him on the Sirius XM show before, and he's always a good interview. He's so smart. He makes you care about wrestling, even if you don't.
He's got Highland cows. The girls love that.
Do they?
Yeah, they do. It's like a thing. No one that watches this cares. No one that watches this shit cares. But Highland cows are like the French bulldog craze that's going on right now too. It's if you got a Frenchie, your wife's probably trying to get a Highland cow.
That's the pipeline from one to the other.
It's Frenchies and Highland cows. That's the very next. Usually it starts with Louis Vuitton purses, then it goes to French bulldogs, and then you get into Highland cows, and then you start getting into red bottom heels. That's kind of the progression.
Okay, my pipeline would be more like Louis to YSL to Dior to the red bottoms, but to each their own. I'm not from the Midwest.
Yeah, it's a mom thing too. It's a mom thing because then
not a mother.
That's how they justify it. They're like, well, I need this big bag for all the shit for the kids, and like, oh, look at this cute little dog. Like you can sleep with the kids and it's all small and not dangerous. And then look, we can teach them about livestock. We have a Highland cow in the middle of the city. And then the red bottoms is just, it's a thing.
Our lives are so different. So different.
Are they?
Yeah. You know what? We still meet in the middle every Monday to record this show.
Well, I'm still battling this Highland cow. I'm staying pretty strong against the Highland. We have regular cows.
I was
What do
gonna
you?
say, I thought you already had cows.
I do, but I don't want to. You can't do anything. We're gonna eat a Highland cow. It's like eating a Frenchie.
Ew.
It's frowned upon.
I'm sure.
Have you seen this eagle thing?
What eagle thing?
Okay, there's these bald. Sorry, guys, I'm just ranting right now. But
You're
there's
good.
these bald eagles in Big Bear, California, I believe is where they're at. So if you guys get a second, like go to YouTube and search Big Bear Eagles, and there'll be a live camera. It's live 24/7, 365 on these two eagles that they've named. I
Have
don't
they
remember.
named them or have you?
No. Like the
Okay.
community. If you at any point in time you go watch this feed, there's 60,000 people watching at any given time. Like sometimes I'll just watch it in the middle of the night, like if I can't sleep. Um, but it's these two eagles, like it's like a mom and a dad, and they had these three egg. Well, this is like the second or third like group of eggs that they've had, and like some of them did. Like I think the first go around of it, the eggs never hatched, and then I think the second one, some hawks came in and ate the eggs. But now they had these three eggs, and like they take turns sitting on these, incubating these eggs, and the little fucking eagles hatched like I don't know a week or 2 weeks ago, and then one of them died. It was a big snowstorm. One of them died, so
Jeez.
then I had to explain to my kids like, yeah, that one's not alive, and then they like take it off the eagles together. They have this little funeral. They leave the chicks and take it off, and it was wild. Anyways, that's my house. Anyways, I'm sure you want to talk about something else.
Well, we have a lot to get to.
I know.
We've got UFC London. Dean Thomas going to join us. He cornered Sean Brady over the
Mhm.
weekend. He's got Joe Pyfer this coming weekend. I'm sure he's working the desk. He's always on commentary. He's got a lot going on. I want to talk to you about the latest update with John Jones and Tom Aspinall. We've got split decision, which rough week
I
for
don't
you
even talk
last
about it.
week.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Before we get
I'm
to any
pouting.
of that, though, this obviously comes out on Tuesday night. That's when everyone is listening to it. But Anthony and I record this on Monday. And just a few minutes ago, the news came out that Cain Velasquez will be sentenced to 5 years in jail. Anthony, I do want to get your reactions to this. This is stemming from the shooting incident from February of 2022. The latest I saw today was that the prosecution was looking for 25 or 30 years to life, whereas
Mhm.
Kane's team was hoping for, you know, nothing, time served and
Probation and all that stuff.
right. But they did land on 5 years.
Yeah, that's a win. That's a win for dads everywhere. Like, I bet if you were to tell Kane before he did that, all right, here's the deal, dude. You can go do this, but you're going to get 5 years. He would do it every single time. Every single time. Now, I know what people are going to say, and there's a couple of ways that you can look at this. One way of looking at it is he made an extremely, and he's saying the right things publicly, that you shouldn't take the law into your own hands, and that he's willing, he's going to do whatever he has to do to make it right. That he's going to serve his time. You're not going to see him bitching and complaining about the sentence, I'm sure. And one of the ways of looking at this, or you can say exactly what he's saying. You can't take the law into your own hands. You have to let the police do their job. That you put a lot of other people at risk. He's running, they're driving through school zones. They're going over 100 miles an hour. It lasted like 12 miles, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in a shootout, 12 miles might as well be 100. So, and I'm with you guys if that's what you're saying. I get it. I get it, and I agree. That is not what you should do. That's not what I would teach the younger me to do. It's not what I would teach my own kids to do. But if you're a father, like you got to realize, as fighters, we're not wired right, anyways. So at times, especially like mine and Kane's generation. These new crop of MMA fighters that we have coming through are incredible athletes, and they come from better circumstances than maybe we have been in. They started this much younger. They've been groomed and they've been trained and they've been brought up correctly, and they made a decision to do this when they may have had other opportunities to do other things to be equally as successful. The generations that came in my generation and Cain's and before that, a lot of times fighting found us. And this was our outlet and our way to try to be normal operating, members of society. So when you're already not quite wired a little bit right, and you probably already have I'm trying to figure out how to say this without sounding like a crazy person. Like inside of me personally, and I believe that Kane's probably exactly the same. There's a hair trigger in there that there's not a lot of things that would touch it and set it off, but it exists. And if that thing gets tripped, you will lose your fucking mind. And there'll be nothing in front of you that's going to stop you.
Well, I'm sure your kids are one of
And
those.
your kids are one of those.
Absolutely.
And a lot of us are trying everything we can do to put our kids in a better situation. The reason we do this, the reason we run ourselves into car accidents day in and day out, is to try and put our families in better positions than we were in. And when something happens to that thing that you've been protecting, that like the only thing that would possibly make you soft, and something happens to that, I can't blame him for going off. So that's the other side of it. As a father, and this is my view on it, I don't condone what he did in terms of the danger that he put other people that had nothing to do with it. That's the only thing that I'll ever push back on Cain about. Like the kid thing with the school zones that they drove through, going all crazy and there's bullets flying. And I don't even necessarily give a fuck about the other people in the car. Like, I know that makes me sound like a crazy person, but that's kind of collateral damage, and they're connected to that piece of shit. So fuck you too. That's my mindset. I know. And listen, guys, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I can see how Cain got to that point where just fuck him. Who cares? So it's a win. It's a win. The only part of it that would have been better would have been if he'd actually shot the correct guy, and then that guy doesn't have a chance to reoffend. And if Cain gets 20 to 25 to life, fuck it. It is what it is.
Well, that's the thing. It's obviously just an unfortunate situation all around. But at the end of the day, when, in my opinion, when the defense is looking for, well, no, when the prosecution's looking for a minimum of 25 or 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
and you walk away with a fifth of that,
It's a win.
yeah.
And in this situation, it does feel appropriate. Like, I don't think Cain is as crazy as some people would like for you to believe.
Yeah.
So I think he's a dad that was
Yep.
heartbroken and hurt. And we can go over and over and over this, but men don't always know how to deal with their feelings. We're not taught to, especially ones that have, been in the game that we're in for a long time. We're not allowed to deal with our feelings. We're just not. So I don't condone it, but I also I can sympathize with him for sure. And I think that if a lot more Cain Velasquez situations happen, you deal with a lot less of the bullshit that caused it. People start being worried about getting shot at, for touching kids. I think it happens less, but maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm crazy, but I'll never come down on a dad for wanting to shoot at the person that touched his kid ever. And if any of you guys get mad about that, you're fucking weird. Because I think all of those people deserve to be shot at. Now, could he have been a little smarter about it and endangered less people? Absolutely. And I wish that that's what he would have done. But the idea that he had, I'm with it. And I back you 100% on that.
Okay.
And I don't in 5 years, it's not that bad. I don't know how the good time works in California. It's none of my business, but he already did almost a year of it in county. So at worst, he does 4. I'm sure he'll get some sort of good time. He's a a pillar in the community. He does a
Right.
lot of public outreach. He's always has done that. Not even since he's been arrested. He's always been like that.
Right.
I think that he's more valuable out of prison than he is in prison. But I bet Cain Velasquez could make a lot of life differences for a lot of people in prison. So if he's in there, I don't even know. If he does another 3 years, I'd be shocked. So if there's ever anything I could ever do for a Cain Velasquez or anyone in his family, I hope that they never hesitate to reach out.
Well, I'm glad we could get your, reactions to that as a fellow fighter, as a dad yourself. I think that's
Mhm.
super important.
Does it
UFC,
feel weird we're celebrating Cain Velasquez getting 5 years in prison?
it does, but
Feels like a celebration. Like it could have
when you
been a
just
lot
look at
worse.
the numbers,
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
there really wasn't a world where he was going to walk away with
No. And God, I
nothing.
bet he wishes it would. Like that's the shitty part. I bet he wishes like, fuck, I could have dealt with this differently, Just maybe trusted in the law. And I don't know. How many times do you see these people get away with it though? And then you see they're back on the streets, and I get it. I get all sides of the arguments. I don't know. It just feels weird to celebrate that, but I'm happy. I've been checking it all day, trying to see. I was
What
getting
was
really
going on?
nervous because like the court, there was no cameras allowed. It was taken all day.
Mhm.
Like they'd been in court forever. Like, God damn. Seems weird. They're going to be there for like 8 hours and he's only going to get a couple years.
And you just don't know. Like,
Don't
there's
know.
really no good precedent for it. Like,
What a smart,
sentences
what a
and
smart move to take the plea agreement though. In hindsight, because before you're like, God, man, maybe you should have fought that a little harder. But it took the mandatory minimum off the table. Because I think that attempted murder charge was might have been a mandatory life sentence if he was convicted. Smart move. Smart move, Kane.
UFC London happened over the weekend. It was
I've never been to a UFC card in London.
I mean, you're lucky you weren't at this one. It sucked. And the crowd wasn't into it. I wasn't into it. People were leaving early. If
Yeah.
you were gonna go to one, this was not the one to be at.
Manchester was good though.
Any other time they've been in the UK the last few years has been amazing. The crowd's
Yeah.
been fantastic, as you would expect with
Yeah.
these
I mean,
European
you can't get them
crowds.
perfect every time. And the fighters gotta perform too.
Well, speaking of performing, Sean Brady did just that. Probably as lopsided a main event as we'd seen in a very long time. Brady was 5 of 7 on his takedowns, had over 11 minutes of control time, and he gets the sub on Leon Edwards, like I said last week.
Hey,
So,
listen,
not the
guys,
dumbest girl around.
listen, guys. Ain't that some shit? This whore you guys been talking about that I brought on this podcast kind of knows what she's talking about a little bit.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Look at that. No, Sean Brady showed out. He showed out. He looked really good. And I know Bilal was live tweeting during the whole thing and
Oh my god.
saying that which is funny.
I appreciate a petty king.
He's petty, but he also said, he stole a page out of my book. Can't argue that, but that's kind of Sean Brady's game anyways.
Mhm.
Listen, it went exactly how I thought it could. That if Leon couldn't consistently defend all the takedowns, that he was going to look a little deflated. Each individual takedown was going to take more and more out of him. And then ultimately he's going to get a finish. One-arm guillotine. I think eventually he did get his hands together, but it wasn't for very long before the tap came. The guy's just dominant. He's dominant on top. He's strong. We're going to talk to Dean about it here in a little bit, but Dean has told me that this guy's the strongest welterweight that's walking planet Earth in all of combat sports. So, I don't take that with a grain of salt, and that's what it looked like. He's solid. He's so solid on top. I wish he'd open up just a little bit more on his feet, because now he's got people so frustrated and so cautious with his grappling. Would really open up his striking a little bit more if he would, throw a little bit longer combos, roll under counters a little bit. But it's a progression. It's a progression, and he's getting better and better.
Well, he also didn't have to open up on the feet because
No.
pretty much
But he's going to at some point in time.
and he was using his striking to advance, across the cage and then go for the takedown. He looked comfortable in what he was doing, but I get what you're saying and that
And it
you'd like
looked
to see him
easy.
do it more. It
Looked
looked
easy.
so easy. I want to ask you about one moment in particular, and that was round 3 when Leon Edwards shot for a takedown. Is that bad fight IQ or is that mentally broken in that moment?
I think he's overwhelmed.
Okay.
think he was overwhelmed. And if you go back to like the Usman fight, he shot on Usman. I think he shot on Colby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he shot on Bilal, but he does have a tendency when he's getting out wrestled or he's in a lot of wrestling exchanges. It's almost like he's been practicing it and doing it so much that he starts to feel it a little bit.
Yep.
I would urge him not to do that versus really good wrestlers. But I think he got one on Colby. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure. It was close if he didn't get one. I know he ended up on top of Colby at one point in time, but when he fights another like high level striker, that's a great wrinkle to have to your game. But I thought it was silly. Like, I don't know why you would ever shoot on Sean Brady if you are Leon Edwards and you have that style of a game. I don't know why. Now Bilal Muhammad's out there doing it. Shoot away, my friend. That's your game. Shoot away.
Of course.
But I think it was a lapse in focus. I think he was overwhelmed. I think he was frustrated, and maybe just had a moment of just kind of had a brain fart.
I don't know. For some reason, when I watch Leon, and maybe it's naive, but ever since that last second buzzer beater KO against Kamaru Usman, I have a hard time counting him out of fights because I had all but counted him out of that fight with Kamaru Usman, and then I actually looked away and missed the finish.
Mm-hmm.
So even this one, where it was extremely lopsided and Sean Brady was having his way with him and pretty much mauling him, was there any ounce of you that thought maybe Leon Edwards could work his magic again, or you really just thought it was?
No, I haven't felt like that was in the moment. I was there in Salt Lake City when he head kicked Kamaru, and you could feel like that there was still a chance, even in the building.
Like tension in the air.
Yeah, there was some tension, and he still had some pop and some snap to him, and even from where I was sitting, I could see him going. And I think I talked about this on the post show, so I'm not just saying this in hindsight. I think on the post show, I was saying, like, someone else said, like, Anthony was talking about this inside leg kick, and Kamaru just kept dropping his hands. And like 10 seconds before it happened, I was like, Kamaru's got to stop reaching for that leg kick with his hands, or he's going to get kicked in the face. And then it happened shortly after that. There's been no moments like that since. Even like he looked good in the Colby fight, but he was very defensive. He was defending takedowns. He was kind of backing away, and he was being a sharpshooter from the outside. And then even in the grappling exchanges, like, he was very defensive and getting back to his feet. The Bilal fight, it was all defense. Like, there wasn't a lot of output. There hasn't felt like there's been a shit ton of output in him for a while. So I don't know. It didn't seem to have that same snap, that same pop. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But he looks different.
Leon.
He does. He looks different.
It just looked like he was checked
Looks
out.
like he cares less.
It just didn't feel like he wanted to be there.
Well, there's a lot of times you don't want to be there, but you still have to do it.
Right.
Sometimes I woke up before and been like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Like when I fought Gustafsson, like I remember waking up, like, yeah, I just don't feel like fighting today.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you've never woke up and been like, yeah, I don't want to go to work.
No, I do that every day. I just mean in the Gus fight in particular.
Yeah.
That is literally my favorite fight of yours.
Yeah.
That's why it's the shocked reaction.
Not really feeling it. Like, it just didn't feel like fighting. It's not that I was like nervous or afraid, or I don't know. I just felt like kind of hanging out. Like, man, I'd like to just go like sightsee this pretty cool city. Like, yeah. I just don't feel like doing the fighting thing today. Like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like going through the whole car wash bullshit, like where I got to get there super early, and I got to wrap my hands, and I got to warm up, then I got to get dressed, and I got to
go through all the motions.
I just want to go through all that shit. Like, I'd rather just show up at like 9:30, wrap my hands, and go fight. But I know I got to do all this other bullshit that I don't feel like doing. That's how Colby looks, or not Colby. That's how Leon looks. And even in the Colby fight, he just seemed like I was there, and he just, I don't know, he just doesn't seem about it. And he just didn't really want to, even the interview process, like, he didn't really seem to want to be there.
That's a bad place to be when you're fighting Sean Brady.
Yeah, that's no shit. But yeah, good. I mean, good on him. I don't know where Leon goes from here. He's going to have to sit down and figure it out, because at this point now he's going to be the guy that's building contenders, which is probably not where he's seen himself being today.
When he just held the title so recently.
He's going to be like the next, like He's Shavkat's next fight.
I mean, don't say that.
We don't know how this goes.
Well, okay, let's talk about the title picture in that division because for Sean Brady, he almost finds himself in a weird spot, which you rarely do after beating a former champion.
Mhm.
But you've got Bilal fighting Jack Della Maddalena May 10th, UFC 315. Most people are assuming that the winner of that fight is going to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, who was going to fight Bilal, pulled out due to injury. Is there any reason for you to believe that Sean Brady weasels his way into that equation?
Possible. It's possible because Shavkat's going to get a title shot off of Ian Gary. A title shot off of Leon Edwards is way easier to sell. It's way easier to sell. So
But is Sean Brady easier to sell than Shavkat Rakhmonov, who feels
Yeah.
like the promotion and the fans have gotten behind?
I don't know that they've gotten behind Shavkat. I don't want to take Shavkat's title shot away from him. I don't want that for a second.
Mhm.
So if Shavkat's the guy, he's the guy. But if there's any uncertainty, I'd be really nervous if I was Shavkat. I'd be really nervous, especially if JDM gets a win. It's a fresh matchup, and he's young. He'll probably want to go pretty quick. So depending on how injured Shavkat is and when he's going to be ready again, Sean Brady could slide into that next title shot.
Well, JDM winning is definitely kind of the wrinkle in the fold because
It
my
is.
only thing is if Bilal does win,
He's already got a little bit of history with Shavkat too.
Bilal,
Yeah.
well, he also has in octagon experience with Sean Brady. That Bilal's only finish in the last 6 years is
I
Sean
know.
Brady. And that's not to say that the fight doesn't go differently this time. I
Yeah,
believe
it could.
it definitely could. But when you kind of have that on your record, I don't think if Bilal beats JDM, that Sean Brady
Right.
jumps Shavkat because of
And
that.
that's the wrinkle. That's the wrinkle. If JDM wins, I definitely could see, I don't know, Jack Della Maddalena versus Sean Brady's a good fight. It's a really good fight.
Well, you've got all fresh matchups at that point,
Versus
which is great.
Rakhmonov's a good one too, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
There's
So let
a lot of different things that could happen there.
because a lot of people are throwing out the idea of Sean Brady versus Ian Machado Gary, and I don't like it.
Because you like Ian Gary?
No. Sean Brady just beat Leon Edwards. You have to assume
Seems
that he's
unfair.
going to be 1 or 2 in the rankings, probably 2 behind Shavkat at 1. Why should he fight down?
I think Leon Edwards was one.
He was, but I don't know if
Why don't
Sean
you
will
take the
slide
number?
into one. I don't know if you
He
just
should.
push.
I think he should. I think he should.
We've seen more egregious rankings before.
Right. I think he should. You just finished the number one guy in the world. Everyone said that's the number one guy. You finish that guy, you're the number one guy.
I will find out.
In my humble opinion.
In your humble opinion. But I mean, that's the question. If it
How
is,
do you beat the former champion one fight after he holds the title? And again, I don't have any issues with Shavkat and Ian Gary, but who's the better guy? The guy that just held the belt, or two undefeated guys that finally fought each other?
Sean Brady just mauled Leon Edwards, we don't know how that
Wasn't
fight's
even
going to
close.
age.
Wasn't even close. Yeah, well, that doesn't matter today, though.
But it kind of does.
No, it doesn't.
Because you're sitting here saying Leon Edwards is the better fighter. Maybe he's not at this point in time.
Okay, we go back and re-rank everybody 6 months from now after Leon's fought again, then we can have that conversation. But you can't say it's not fair to Sean Brady to say, well, I just don't think this is going to age well because I think Leon's going to go on and not do well after this.
Sure.
You just have to look at what's in front of you, which is exactly what I did in the co-main event because I just have to look at what I know, and that's not what I seen happening.
The co-main event.
I hate not knowing.
Well, there was a lot of questions going into it. That was the bulk of our conversation last week. We didn't know what version of Jan Blachowicz was going to show up. Before we even get into it, I thought Jan Blachowicz won that fight. I scored rounds 1 and 3 for him. I don't think it's a robbery by any means.
Yeah.
All the rounds were close and competitive, but what you said last week, you would be able to tell right away as a fighter if Jan Blachowicz came back the same version of himself prior to injury, or if he was a different version of himself.
Mhm.
What did you see from him? I know you just rewatched this fight before we started recording
did.
today.
He's pretty close. It's pretty close. His timing was off a little bit. you can tell he hasn't been in a live fight situation in a while. It just, which is what the casuals would call ring rust. He didn't look rusty. He looked out of tune. Like he was just a little bit off. Like just only in the first round though. I think after the first round he started to clear it a little bit, and he had I think he lost the second round.
Mhm.
I thought that was pretty clear, but it wasn't a blowout by any sense of the imagination. It started with the leg kicks. He took a lot early. I
Yep.
was, what are you doing? I literally just bragged to everyone about how good of a leg kick defense you
You
have.
did.
And he just took a bunch of them early. And then he kind of cleared that, that dust out of that. And that's when I noticed the timing was off a little bit. Like, he seen it coming. He was just a little bit off and a little bit stiff. He's always a little bit stiff. He's kind of
Mhm.
a more of a rigid type of fighter. But he seemed a little more stiff and a little tentative. Just, it's been a minute since he's been in that fight speed. And it's even more apparent with a guy like Ulberg, who's really fast. So it took him a minute, I think, to deal with the speed and the range of Ulberg. But I thought he looked good generally. I think he looked okay. Um, I thought he started going to his own leg kicks pretty well.
Agree.
Ulberg is going to have a tough time. Like, listen, he's really good. He's going to have a tough time with a few of the guys in the division fighting with that style, though, in my opinion.
Who did you score the fight for?
I had Blachowicz, but again, it's not a robbery. I thought round one, I thought he won. He took some leg kicks that I could see other people scoring for Ulberg. But I thought that the more impactful strikes in terms of the boxing went to him. I thought he landed the harder leg kicks. Ulberg landed more, but every
Agree.
time he would kick Ulberg, it was, swinging him around and
You
Blachowicz.
felt it when Blachowicz was landing them.
Yeah. When Blachowicz threw a kick, like, it changed the way that Ulberg was standing.
Mhm.
Blachowicz kind of just took it and kept marching forward. That was kind of the difference for me. So it was more impactful. Second, I had Ulberg, and third, early in the round, Ulberg landed a pretty good, like, 1-2 or 2-3 that seemed to be pretty clean, but I don't remember seeing anything super clean after that. So I went back and watched again, and I thought, yeah, he was early. He started strong in the third, but I felt like Blachowicz just does what he does and just chipped away at him over the entirety of the round. So I thought he won. It's not a robbery, but neither one of those guys really risked it. They didn't really take a lot of risk and put themselves in a lot of danger to really get an emphatic finish or really steal any of those rounds. So, but that's high level MMA though. I mean, regardless, was it the most exciting thing for everyone to sit there and watch? No, but for me, there was a lot of small nuances happening. There was a lot of small battles being fought there, and it was high level. Those guys are definitely the tip of the spear in terms of the light heavyweight division.
I mean, what's unfortunate though is that neither of them really, I'm talking about Carlos Ulberg, put himself in a spot that really made a case like, I am next for this title. We know
Right.
we're going to see Magomed Ankalaev, Alex Pereira in the rematch. That's a given. And we'll see when that happens. But the record shows that you beat Jan Blachowicz narrowly or have a competitive, close, lacklustery fight with him, cough, cough, Magomed Ankalaev,
Mm-hmm.
that does you no favors.
No.
Magomed Ankalaev ultimately worked himself into the title mix, but he
Yeah, he
should
just
have
ran
been
out of
there
people. He
earlier.
just ran out of people to beat.
And light heavy ran out of title contenders too.
Right.
So he should have been there and it was
Mm-hmm.
rightfully earned, but he didn't get there off the draw with Jan Blachowicz. So I don't think that this fight does Carlos Ulberg any favors.
No. Listen, it's wide open still. Listen, who knows? I get past Zing Zhang Zin
Come on.
Zhang Zhang Meng, whatever this dude's name is. I get past him. Who knows? I might be in a title shot. You don't even know. Yeah. He's a badass. He can fucking fight. I just can't say his name. They might say, who knows? It's wide open. You're in, dog. You're in.
No, I think we had a couple
They're
missed opportunities. You had a couple fights in the past that could have put you there. Not sure this is the one.
not gonna say that, huh?
No.
Fuck.
I
Okay.
think they've got their foot ready to kick the door on your way
Yeah, they got their
out.
foot on my ass on the way out the door.
They're like, get out.
They're like, "Here, you want some of that? You can take that with you. You want a to-go box? Here, here's your check. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, here's your check. It already cleared. Get out.
Yeah, here, we'll pay you in cash.
Here's the phone number to call for GFL. Get out.
Right.
Like, you're done.
They're like, "We heard Mike Perry needs an opponent. You just go dip over there."
Yeah.
That's funny.
Rashad's out. You
Yeah,
gotta go
Rashad's
fight
out. I'm fighting Rampage.
Rampage.
Oh shit.
All right, we bring in the man himself. We've been talking about him all show, who works 7,000 jobs. I couldn't quite possibly name them all. Dean Thomas. Dean, how are you, bud?
Hey, how are we? Am I too hot? I feel like the light on me is too hot.
Oh, too
You
hot.
look-
You
you
look like
look a
blink
prisoner.
twice if you're in trouble.
Are you being held? I feel like you're about to put up a piece of paper and then read, "They taking care of me okay. I ate today. I had plenty of water."
Listen, I was telling somebody the other day, as a Black American, I don't ever really have to worry about that. Ain't nobody trying to kidnap me. Don't nobody want me. You know what I'm saying?
No one's
No
trying
one-
to kidnap you because you're a grown man.
No,
That's
no
what
one's
I'm
asking.
saying.
Well,
Like
no
an
one's asking for
old,
him back.
ashy Black American, no one is kidnapping me. So you'll never have to worry about that. My backgrounds just look like it.
It's so funny. The makeup ladies at the UFC. Every time me and Dean work together, they'll do his makeup a little bit, touch him up, and they'll be like, "You need some lotion?" And Dean's always, "Nah." I'm like, "Yes, you do." I seen them crusty
self-awareness.
elbows. I seen them things.
You lucky I don't take my pants like my knees. You see my knees.
All right, Dean, I'm gonna pull the curtain back here a little bit.
Okay, pull it back.
I'm gonna tell on us.
Oh, God.
Sometimes, this is a new show. We just started this, and we're just trying to get it going smoothly. It's not always smooth. So this isn't the first time where we've recorded this interview. I begged Dean to come on last week, and we did the whole interview. And my my internet wasn't very good, and it was shaky. And I was at my apartment in Denver, and I hadn't had the setup all perfect yet, and so it was bad, and we had to scrap it. So I don't know if Kelly told you that, Dean, or you just thought we were bringing you on 2 weeks in a row.
I really thought I was just a good guest.
You are a good guest.
That
That's why I
you
wanted
are.
to redo it.
I did tell him that you would be home today and in good internet and not. Anthony looked like he was recording with a rock. It was
He
real
did.
bad.
He did. I know. He did. He did.
There was a delay. It was like a producer's worst nightmare.
Right.
Very anxious.
So here we are again.
Well,
So I
hey,
said,
listen,
Dean, can I bother you again?
I'm proud to do the show with you guys. So it doesn't matter. So I'm just glad y'all reached back out and we get a chance to do this again.
And we get it right. We get it right this time. Okay, so you were in London, and obviously the last time we did this a week ago, we talked about Sean Brady and him. We talked about a few things, just him coming in short notice, him always being ready. He's always training, and you anticipated that he was gonna have a good performance and kind of maybe right some of the wrongs that he maybe had in the Bilal fight, and then he goes out there and do you think he overperformed your expectations, or was that about what you expected?
Anytime somebody gives a performance like that, like I always expect my fighters to be able to do that. But when they do it, I always feel like that's an overperformance. I really do, because I know how hard it is to actually do that. Like under the lights, like you can do it in the gym, but when you get under the lights, there's always a little bit of hesitation. There's always a little bit of, your opponent's not cooperating. Like there's so many different factors that you can't account for, but you expect your fighter to still be able to do it. But the fact that Sean went out there and did what he did, I'm extremely proud and I'm impressed and I'm really happy for him. Just to be able to watch that performance and be a part of that, it brings a lot of joy to me. I'll tell you, it does bring a lot of joy.
That's a different feeling that you get from a lot of coaches, though. And I think that that's the benefit that the guys and girls that you coach get. Like when you talk about your fighters, it's not about my athlete did this, my athlete did that. We really worked this, and like when you talk about them, it's like a proud father moment. Like you really pick and choose the few guys that you're going to work with. So watching that performance, of course I was happy for Sean Brady. But if I'm just being very honest, I was more excited for you because I know how much you care.
Yeah.
Ass kisser.
No,
Unbelievable.
Me?
know what?
I'm
Well, it ain't me.
what are
Calm
you talking-
down. Listen how
Jealous.
jealous she is. You see what I'm saying? So jealous. No, you know what? And I appreciate that too, because it's really hard for me sometimes to have a fighter, especially when I only work with a couple. It was a lot easier when I worked with a lot of fighters to go out there and detach myself from the outcome. Because I work with so many, it's just like, okay, it's, he lost, boom, next week. But I only get a chance to do this a few times. So I'm very attached. And even then, I still try to detach myself from the outcome because I don't want to live vicariously through them, because it's not fair to them. It's not fair that I go, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. Because if they not feeling it, then they don't got to do nothing. Like I had my chance to do it. Like if they not feeling it, then so with that being said, I know how much Sean wanted this. Like he took this on short notice. He was excited about it. He trained really good. And you know how, like, and Anthony, you know this, man, like before fights, fighters, they start finding little things to be irritated about. And they find little things to distract them. And they're like, I can't believe the UFC did this, or I got to do this media. I got to do that. And that's always a bad sign for me. Sean did none of that. He was like, it's whatever. We're here. It's whatever. It's whatever. We got a job to do. And he was so locked in. And for him to be able to perform that way, like it was perfect execution from camp to the fight.
Our own Kelly predicted people always say Kelly don't know what she's talking about, and sometimes I agree with them. But this time this time she had it right on. She predicted a submission. Is that what you guys expected?
I did, but even again, this is one of them things I expect. I know Sean's capable of that, and and in my head I expected that. But at the same time, like Leon's never been finished,
right?
And that's why we were so excited, because Leon has never been finished. And he's always looked good on the ground, and I've always felt he looked good. He was good on the ground, and I've always felt he was. I said it prior to the fight that skill for skill, he's probably the most well-rounded welterweight in the world. And for Sean to go out there and possibly have 2 10-8 rounds, going on a third 10-8 round, and then submitted him was just unreal to me. It was like in London, like the whole crowd was like, the whole crowd was like, I can't believe what we're watching. Yeah.
That's crazy. What about that takedown attempt? Like Leon's.
Dude, I honestly, when he did that, I got quiet and I looked at John Marquez, the head coach, and I looked at him, I said, did he just try to take Sean down? And then when he got reversed, John was like, man, we could just play checkers. And we could literally play chess right now because we don't need to do anything. Like we just knew at that point the fight was over. When Leon shot that takedown, he just showed his hand that he didn't want to be there anymore, and that was a wrap. Couldn't believe it.
You got to be careful, Dean. Last time you said Leon was mentally broken, you had to go on your apology tour. Remember that?
I know. Well, I think this time makes up for it, right? This kind of makes up for it. Like we knew that it was over for him, and and not that he got lucky with the Kamara thing, but at the end of the day, like when the sample size is a little bit bigger, when it's over for you as a fighter, it'll expose itself. And this time it did.
Do you think that's where do we go with Leon here? Obviously I want to get to like the Sean part of it, and what do you guys want to do after that? The last time we did this interview, we talked about like having call outs ready and what you want ready next and whatever, but where does Leon go? What do you do with him now?
It's tough, man, because I don't think, Leon is not and this is I don't want this to be disrespectful towards Leon, because I still believe that skill for skill and like his body type and all that he was a great champion. He's a great fighter. He's still top 5 material, but I just don't think that Leon is in his heart a real true fighter. And I say that like in terms of like Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier, like these guys will fight you in a parking lot. These guys will.
Do you think he's an athlete?
I think he's an athlete, and I think he's a performer. I think he's creative. I think in the gym, he's probably eats up everybody in the gym.
Probably magical.
Yeah, just super magical. I just think when the lights come on and it's time for him to really fight, and I think despite not being a true fighter, he was still that good. He was still that good and still able to beat everybody. But when you think about it, and I thought about this as well, like his brother's kind of a dick, like and I say that, and I'm gonna get beat up when I go to London, but I say that because he's very protective of Leon.
Right.
Like when we were at the thing, like he was like super aggressive and super uptight, and he was kind of a dick to everybody. And I think he's protective of Leon because I think that they even recognize that Leon at times is not a true fighter at heart, and they want him to be. So they're protective of him. And that's why the coach is like, come on, son, don't let him because they know if he had a little bit more grit in him and had the ability to chew iron, that he would probably still be world champ. And
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's really fair.
So I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I say this.
I've never looked at Leon Edwards and broke his game down and say, man, that guy's just got a ton of grit.
He doesn't. And
to
be fair,
he'll just grind it out. Like he can't. I've just never seen that ability.
And to be fair, I didn't have it neither. So this is how I know what it looks like. Because I didn't have it neither.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I got no skills. I got no abilities. I could just grind it out when I got to.
This is what I'm saying. Like when things got hard for me, I resorted to pulling guard too.
Mm-hmm.
I resorted to shooting takedowns and pulling guard. So I know what it looks like. So this is why
how do you get to that point? How do you get to that point, Dean? When did you learn that about yourself?
Earlier in my career, I think I had it. But as I started to mature and I started to realize what the stakes were, and then I started to feel like I wasn't fighting for myself anymore and could express myself for myself. And I realized that in order to do the job, they wanted me to be more gritty. And I tried to rely on grit. I didn't have it. I couldn't tell you what fight that was, but that I could definitely tell you that in times where I needed it, I didn't have it. You can go look back at my Kyle Uno fight. Kyle Uno, he wins. I win round 1. He wins round 2. We go into the third round. We're in a takedown situation. We're both on our side. I didn't fight to get back up. I stayed down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lack of having grit. I know what that looks like. I know what that feels like. So I feel as though Leon is suffering from the same thing in his career.
Do you think
we took advantage of that?
Do you think he knows it? Or is he just now learning it?
I think he's just now learning it. He might not have known. He never had to know it before because he was so much better than everybody.
Yeah.
Like even when he fought, like think about when he fought Colby Covington. Like Colby fought him soft and he didn't put him away.
Yeah, he didn't finish him.
He didn't finish. A killer, and he's capable of it. A killer, like with his skill set, would have put Colby away in 2.
The Colby Covington fight felt like one guy was afraid and the other guy was happy that he was.
Right. That's exactly what it looked like.
Like Colby didn't really want to, like he did fight him kind of soft. And Leon was like, okay, well, if he's not going to fight hard, then I'll just let him give it away.
Yeah.
Like instead of going and taking it, it's like if I ramp it up and I go super hard, he's going to go hard and I don't want him to do that.
Right. That's exactly what it looked like.
So I'll just stay ahead a little bit. I won't piss him off. I'll just kind of do my thing and then we'll just get the fuck out of here.
I'll just do my thing, walk away with the win, and that's good. So that's exactly what it looked like. And I couldn't have put it better. Like one guy was afraid, and the other guy was just happy that he was afraid.
Just happy that he was. Yeah, he's just happy that he was, and we're just going to do it like this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I know. I'm glad you said that because that was very well put.
Where does Sean Brady go from here now? We've talked a lot about Leon Edwards, but Sean Brady is the one who won this fight. A bit of a logjam at 170. You've already got Bilal taking on JDM in May. A lot of people think Shavkat Rakhmanov's going to fight the winner of that fight, given he was the one supposed to fight Bilal. Where does Sean Brady fit in that equation? Because I know he wants to fight for the title, and it feels like a lot of people are suggesting Ian Machado Gary, which I don't like.
Him fight Ian Machado Gary. Why would he go backwards like that? Like, was it like Leon was ranked number 1? Why would he have to go back and fight Ian Machado Gary?
Exactly.
Yeah, in my opinion, Sean should be next. And the rate at which Bilal Muhammad and JDM like to fight, I actually think that is a fight that could happen sooner rather than later. Now, if we're dealing with a champion that doesn't like to fight often, then I'd say give Sean another fight. It could be, whoever, maybe somebody, maybe even Joaquin Buckley. You know what I'm saying? Not that but Joaquin Buckley is on the rise. Why fight Ian Gary, who just lost? That doesn't make sense to me. But I think also too, who knows when Shavkat's going to be healed up? So you just never know.
It's just hard because let's say Bilal does get past JDM. Bilal's only finish in the last 6 years is Sean Brady. So I love Sean, and I do think that fight goes differently should it happen again. I just have a hard time thinking that he jumps Shavkat if Shavkat's recovery lines up properly.
Yeah, I think if Shavkat's recovery lines up properly, Shavkat will probably be next. But if I'm Sean, I'm still waiting because if Bilal finishes or beats Shavkat, Bilal's going to want to fight again. Bilal's a dog, man. Bilal likes to fight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about Bilal sitting out for 6 months for the hell of it. So I think Sean should just wait and see what happens. But if Shavkat is healed, then maybe Bilal get another one in, or maybe Sean get another one in there. But because I mean, at the end of the day, anytime you fight, it's always an opportunity. Like people go, "What? Oh, I don't want to waste this," but it's always an opportunity to build your fan base and become a bigger star. You just never know. Like if Sean goes out there and fights whoever next and finishes them too, like Sean is going to become a bigger star. So sitting around too long is detrimental. But if you can time this out right, I do believe he deserves a title shot.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I wanted to get into some of the Joe Pyfer stuff, but honestly, I think I enjoy talking to you more after they fight than before, because you kind of hold some of those cards close to your chest, and it's not like we can talk about game plans. We kind of know what we're getting with Pyfer, anyways. I think the biggest issue, we've seen him slow down before at times. I think Mexico City's not the place you want to be if you have any conditioning issues, but you've said he's been there for a while anyways, right?
Yeah, he's been there a while and he's doing good now. He's doing good. He's acclimated to it. He's able to do his workouts at the same rate that he was doing them back home. So he's feeling good. He's ready for this opportunity. The thing, and I know you like talking about it after. We can still talk it after, but I'll just go ahead and kind of chime in a little bit about Pyfer. And I think it's always been kind of a maturity issue with Joe. When Joe is a fighter, like he likes to beat people up. Like that's his mentality. He likes to punch people. So he's a fighter. It's just a maturity thing for him and finding the balance between professionalism and knocking people out, because he was knocking everybody out. And there can be an amateurish mentality with that, just thinking that you're going to knock everybody out. But as he's getting more and more into this game, he's learning that maturity. And plus, I'm teaching it to him.
Right. Well, and he's always been nothing but super cool and respectful with me. Like he's always been a super nice guy. He has come off very angry at times.
Yeah.
Which
for no reason.
He's had a rough background. And so sometimes, I've seen people like, man, what's he so mad about? Like, I think he's just an angry guy. Like, I think he's kind of just an angry guy in general. And maybe the things he gets angry at doesn't make any sense. But you see a little bit of pain, a little bit of immaturity in there where he just sometimes seems like he's looking for a reason to be pissed off about something. Again, not towards me. He's always been super cool to me, but I've seen less of that recently.
Yeah. And that's really something that I try to focus on. I mean, it's easy to teach people how to punch and kick, but to be able to do it at the level you want to be able to do it under the lights when you need to do it most requires a certain mentality and a certain maturity. And those are some of the things that I try to work on with athletes. And Joe is one of them. It's just, man, you got the skills, man, but let's just make sure we can bring out the best of you when it matters most. And if you're angry all the time, then it's not going to work. Like it can help a little bit. It can help kind of charge up that passion, but it's not going to work fully in a big fight.
Right. All right, man. Well, I'm excited for that one. I'm excited to get there and do some training and hang out in Mexico City. Before I let you go, me and Kelly talked about this a little bit earlier, and I'm sure you've seen it. Well, maybe not. I don't know if you're back on social media or anything yet, but
Well, I'm not. But
Cain Velasquez came out that he got sentenced today, and he got 5 years. So the prosecution was looking at like 25 or 30 to life. They were asking for, I think, time served and probation. Obviously, that probably wasn't going to happen. But yeah, he got 5 years. So what do you, now that it's all done, and he's got to do the 5 years or whatever he's got to end up doing with his time served. What do you think of all that?
Well, I mean, he was wrong. I mean, I don't care how you try to justify and go, yeah, if you did that to my kid, but at the end of the day, man, he shot in a crowded area. Like he shot a gun in a crowded area, and that's under no circumstances is that cool. And I'm not coming down on Cain because I understand like he was probably super, super out of his mind, right? Just in a different place of anger. But if he had killed him with his bare hands, I'd probably be like, yeah, good. But like because you get the right guy, right? Like he got the right guy, and it'll probably be more satisfying.
Probably,
yeah, probably more satisfying. But so I'm okay with the sentence. I know a lot of people were like free Cain, but I'm what he did was wrong.
There's got to be something. Yeah,
you even had that face when you found out 5 years. You were like, well,
yeah. It seems like a win.
Yeah,
seems like everyone gets a win.
Yeah,
that's actually very similar to what Kelly and I talked about earlier.
Yeah, what he did was wrong.
When you do ultimately come back to social media, do you have any characters planned? We know you have Dina White.
I was doing I was doing my Conor McGregor on who?
What was Dingo Med?
Oh, Dingo Med Magomedov. I do want to lean into Dingo Med Magomedov a lot more this year. I'm going to lean into that one a lot more this year because I have my Philly connection. A lot of the dudes are from that region, so I'm going to lean into that one a lot more this year. Trust me.
I was with Dean when he did one of his Dina Whites, and first of all, the two of us go to a Target in the middle of Philadelphia. And so it's the two of us at Target buying stockings, we were getting a lot of weird looks. Then
look at this old ass black man buying stockings with this poor white girl.
Yeah.
They're definitely robbing a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, they're looking at Kelly like, blink twice if you need some help.
Right. We get to Dean's Airbnb. He's like, all right, I have to blend this Big Mac. I'm like, what? And he's like, no, I have to. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, all right, could you start recording it? I'm like, I guess. So I start recording it. It starts to smell like fire. He almost sets the air because the blender almost goes on fire while he's blending the Big Mac. So he almost sets the Airbnb on fire, all for his Dina White skit. So for those who don't think this man puts deep thought into his skits, he puts deep thought into them and almost has some casualties along with it.
I do remember. I forgot about that, Kelly. I appreciate you reminding me of that. I do remember that.
That is what. You got any new characters?
I don't have any new characters, but I think I need to work. I'm gonna work on a few new ones for sure.
I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna come up with one for you.
Yeah, I gotta come up with some new characters. I gotta figure out who's I would do Raul Rosas Jr., but that would probably not go over too well.
No, I don't think so. You know what we should do? We should go in Mexico City, and we should like go shopping for like the fights on Saturday. We should just lean into like the Mexican culture.
Oh, I got a mariachi outfit.
Of course you do.
Are you gonna wear it?
I'm not gonna bring it though because the hat and all that stuff, like it's a lot.
Well, this is
but I mean, I might. But if I'm already out there, that's not saying I won't go by and pick one up though.
Well, let me know. We'll get some big badass hats. Get some snakeskin boots and some. Dude, I'm telling you.
I know where the flea market is. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm in. I'm in.
And
I know how
and
to
then
find it.
I'll find one of those social media guys to follow us around, and they'll capture it. We'll put it on social media. Hell
Let's
yeah.
do it. Let's
Hell yeah.
do it. I'm
I'm
in.
leaning in. I'm
Hell
leaning
yeah.
in. All right, dude. Well, I'm gonna let you get out of here. Thanks for coming and hanging out and redoing this with us. I'm glad we got it right.
Thank whoever kidnapped you for allowing us to take 25 minutes of your time.
It's all good. You know, I love you guys and anytime. So y'all lay low. And once again, congratulations on the show. And we shall chop it up.
All right, man. I'll see you soon.
All right,
Bye,
y'all.
Dean.
Peace.
Anthony, I don't just say this because Dean's a good friend of mine, but he is one of my absolute favorite people in and out of MMA.
Yeah, I love Dean. I spend 3 hours a week doing content with Dean. It's my favorite 3 hours of the week.
Oh.
And I have so much fun.
Oh, it's your favorite?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, by far. There's not even
by far.
There's not even a close second.
Got it.
Everything else I hate, actually.
Such a tank.
No, and when I work these weekends with him, I learn so much from him. Not even just about MMA, like life. We'll have these real fun conversations. We do training and you know, like Dean doesn't really roll anymore. So especially if I have a training partner, he'll just kind of sit on the side and just walk you through. It's fun. It's just a lot of fun. And he's got a different perspective. So I think we should try to see if we can convince him to come on like once a month.
Dean does so much outside of the fighting. Everyone knows him because of the fighting, and he has 6 jobs alone inside fighting, but he acts. He told me he's looking to direct a project this year. He owns a cafe in Florida. He's a dad. He has a lot going on.
He's a busy man. The only thing I wish I could take him out to eat more often. He's not like a big foodie, which is funny because he owns a restaurant, but he's not a big foodie. So like he works and goes to his hotel room.
When we were in Arizona, it was the weekend Justin Gaethje fought Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title. Dean and I forced him to go to a Diamondbacks game with me.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, I'll go. So we go, and then he's like, all right, let's go get dinner. So I'm like, okay. He brings me, no joke, to the grocery store, and he just picks up a pack of salami. And he's like, all right, this is what I'm going to have. Get whatever you want.
Yeah, he's not a foodie.
I was like, what do you mean? This is what you're going to have.
What'd you get?
I just got, like a Caesar salad, like box. Like
nice. Okay.
And
dinner with Dean.
Dean literally had his salami pack, and we went and ate it at his hotel.
Yeah. Love Dean. I love him for that.
He's a character.
He is.
So that brings us to our weekly split decision segment where the fighters lost yet again. You were actually the dead weight this time around. You only got 2 fights right. Hanacho had a great week. You said you can't do it alone, and then you actually drug the team down.
I'm trying to just make them better. Like sometimes as a leader, you have to just take a step back and let them lead too, you know?
You know what I will say? Every time your picks are good, no one has anything to say. But this last week, when the picks were bad, everyone was like, Anthony Smith's so stupid.
I know.
It's a bad day to be Anthony Smith. God, he sucks. I was like, go back. His picks have not been bad at all.
Just saying, it's never a bad day to be Anthony Smith. You guys would kill to live my life. It's not that bad.
Cows and all.
And I don't read your comments. So there's that. The only time I know if I'm getting hate from people in the comments is when Kelly goes, "Oh, they're letting you have it today."
Like,
that's
maybe
it.
You should look.
No, I don't give a fuck.
So that brings us to UFC Mexico City. You're going out there in a few days. You're working the desk. Another 6-fight main card.
Yeah.
Gonna be another dicey one.
It's another dicey one. All right. UFC Mexico City. We're starting the card off. I'm going to go fast through these because I'm pouting, to be honest with you.
Over what? Your picks or this card?
My picks.
Okay.
I think Blachowicz won. I'm not gonna cry over, the result, but I thought he won. What other one did I get wrong?
Well, that was the swing fight because all 3 fighters picked Blachowicz. All 3 casuals picked Carlos Ulberg.
Yeah.
You got Sean Brady right.
Yeah.
And you got
Kevin Holland.
That's it.
What's the other ones I got wrong? Okay, Molly McCann. Yeah, see, I
That was
kind of
more of like a nostalgia, feel good.
yeah, I kind of leaned
London pick.
into her being, at home, and I don't know. Like, if she wouldn't have been in London, I probably would have picked against her. But I thought at home she was gonna overperform.
Oh, the tattoo kid that you said you really like.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Mhm.
That was crazy. I didn't. Yeah, I really didn't expect him to lose. I'll eat
Oh,
that one.
and then
I'll eat
you
that one.
didn't pick Nathaniel Wood, who won his fight.
He fought
Was it Charrier?
Perrier. Yeah, see that. It's another one. Like I'll eat those two. Those two are legit. Molly McCann is just, it's a feel good one for sure. I thought she would overperform at home in London. I think Blachowicz won, so I'm not completely going to accept that loss. But
All right, you're getting back on track this week.
we're back on track. Okay, it's a 6-fight main card. We start out with Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas, I believe is how you say it. I think this fight's kind of a pick'em, to be honest with you. I didn't dig just full disclosure, I didn't dig super deep into this one. But I'm going to go Rodriguez. David Martinez is an absolute huge favorite over Oliveira. I'm going to go with the favorite. It's really hard to pick against a -400. So Raul Rosas Jr. Versus Vince Morales. I just really like the grappling game of Rosas Jr. in this fight. Again, he's a big favorite and should be, especially in front of his people. He tends to overperform at times. And then we go into Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. Kelvin's so hit and miss, and I really like that Pyfer's been working a lot with Dean, and that guy is huge. Kelvin at times has struggled with larger guys. I think that Pyfer has the chin. I think that he's got the grappling ability defensively to stop Kelvin's takedowns. And Kelvin hasn't been super consistent with his performances. And I don't mean in how he's doing in the fights. We just don't see him enough. Pyfer's been in the gym. He's not dealing with the injuries like Kelvin Gastelum has over the kind of entirety of his career. So I am going to go Pyfer. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. That's going to be a really good fight. That's also a pick'em. I do like Dober in this fight, and it's because we see these young crop of guys coming in versus some of the older guys, and it's kind of the young eats the old. Dober doesn't. Sometimes he'll win one, he'll lose one. He'll win a couple, he'll lose a couple.
Yep.
But he's never fighting anybody that sucks. He's always in really, really tough fights with really badass guys, and he fights everybody. I just think just his experience. He fights at a really high pace. He trains in Denver, so I don't see him having a whole lot of issues. With the altitude in Mexico City, he's going to be able to acclimate to that much faster than everyone else that's not used to it. So I don't think we're going to see any conditioning issues. That's going to be the issue in some of these other fights. And then Brandon Moreno versus Steve Ursig. This one's
wait. So your Dober pick official?
Dober. I'm taking Dober. And people are also going to say he's from Omaha, so I'm going to pick him anyways. That's also true. But I actually do believe he's going to win.
And that young eat the old narrative isn't really the case at lightweight.
No, not always. Not always. Definitely not a lightweight. The Brandon Moreno Steve Ursig fight is a really interesting fight because if you look at Ursig versus Pantoja, Ursig was in that fight. He lost it at the very end on a stupid scramble that shouldn't have never happened. That doesn't happen. He wins that fight. So he has the grappling ability to stay safe and continue to do damage and to continue to be offensive and score. Is Brandon Moreno a better grappler than Pantoja? The answer is no. Is Ursig a better striker than Pantoja? I think so. I think that's pretty clear. So I think Ursig will outstrike Brandon Moreno. I'm breaking it down to you guys how I do in my head without getting super deep into the X's and the O's. I think that Ursig will outstrike Brandon Moreno. I think that the difference is going to be the takedowns slowing his striking down a little bit. I think if I'm Brandon Moreno's team, I know you're probably not going to out-grapple Steve Ursig because Pantoja struggled with it at times. When he got to his spots, he was great, but he wasn't as successful as I think a lot of people thought he was going to be. I think the rest, especially if I'm safe, Saud, you probably just need to wrestle him when he really gets running downhill on his feet to just slow him down and bring his output down a little bit.
Right.
I think, again, being in Mexico City makes a difference just with having the crowd behind you, it being, you're home, you're comfortable, that's it's a home game. The altitude could play a factor, depending. I don't know how long Ursug's been there, but it could. It's going to be something that Moreno's going to be used to, and Ursug isn't. Even if he did go early and acclimated, it's going to be different.
Yep.
I don't know that Moreno can hurt him on his feet, so I'm fucking walking around in circles here. I'm going with Ursug. I'm picking Ursug.
Interesting. Do we know the odds on that?
I don't know what DraftKings has it as. Just in passing, I found Brandon Moreno is a minus 186 to a Steve Ursug plus 160.
DraftKings has Brandon Moreno as a minus 238 to Ursug's plus 195.
Jesus.
All right. Underdog pick of the week.
Me, and I'm pouting. So if I lose, I don't even care. But I'm trying. Okay. I'm trying.
He's doing his best.
I had a bad week. Okay. Leave me alone.
All right. That's about all we've got today, Ant. You've got a ton of flights to catch this week. You're out to Denver in a couple days, and then from Denver, you're off to Mexico City to work the desk?
Yep. And then Mexico City home, and then back to Denver, and we're all over the place. So
we will see you next week, probably in Denver then.
Yes. Next time you guys see me, I will be in Denver. We'll have our setup all fixed and streamlined and tested, and we'll be good to go. As always, I appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Don't make fun of me too bad. Be nice in the comments. And we'll see you guys next week. We partner with HomaFight Picks to get you the most accurate and well-researched fight predictions. They do all the legwork so you can focus on winning. Picks will be sent directly to your phone via text or email. It's totally up to you. The second we upload them. Use code Lionheart to get 7 free days at winnable.com/HOF picks. That's WINIBLE.com/HOF picks.